Well, hey, I want to thank you for coming today. Thanks for getting together. I think we've got a pretty interesting topic that we're going to cover today, which is really how do you remain relevant with your customers when you're not around? Okay, there's a lot going on in the marketplace today, and customers are facing a lot of changes in how they make decisions and some of the pressures that are out there. The key is they have a lot of resources available to them that may or may not involve you. So the challenge for us as a team is to make sure that we remain relevant in the conversations when we're not around. When the customers are in the board meeting, are they talking about us and are they doing it in a favorable way? So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And I think it makes sense to really start and look at today's market. There's a lot of changes going on out there today that are affecting what we do. And on a quick summary of that, it's really getting tough to remain relevant. There's a lot of factors at play that are really trying to marginalize the role of the sales professional today and of our company. You look at some of the sales and product channels and how they're converging. Everybody knows who UPS is, right? What's UPS stand for? United Parcel Service, right? What's their new tagline?
What can Brown do for you?
Nope, that's an older one. The current one is United Problem Solvers. Okay, so why do you think UPS went to United Problem Solvers as a tagline?
They need to expand their value proposition.
They do, that's exactly right. They found that moving parcels just wasn't profitable for them anymore. Their core business wasn't generating the returns that they needed it to. So they have to find alternative channels. Well, we see that in a lot of companies today. Everybody used to operate in their own swim lane, and then they decided to get into other marketing channels and other product channels. And the result is a matrix out there that can be confusing to customers, but that's an opportunity for us because they're going to pull data down from the internet, but they won't know necessarily what they're looking at. They're just going to see data points. They need knowledge, and that's where we come in. But UPS, as an example, is big in reverse logistics. Anybody know what reverse logistics is? Reverse logistics is a fancy way of saying they handle the returns that manufacturers don't want to deal with. I made a call with a sales rep in Louisville not too long ago. We pulled into an industrial park. We were going to see UPS. Big, beautiful industrial park, probably 10, 12 buildings, 150 to 200,000 square feet each. I said, which one is UPS? He said, all of them. So, wow, all of them? Yeah. So we went into the first building, and guess what they were doing? They had cell phones, smartphones, that they were refurbishing, reconditioning, and repairing for a major carrier. Okay, that was their business, taking those returns in, getting them back, doing the return shipments to consumers, back to stock if they were, capable of doing that. So that's the business they went to. We went to the second building. Guess what they were doing there? Laptops. Same thing. Reverse logistics is going to be very big for UPS, but the message there is so many companies are getting into alternative product channels, alternative sales channels, and that really kind of messes things up if you're not on top of your game. Let's talk a little bit about millennials because that's very important, and you're going to see very quickly as to why it's important. Take a look at this chart. Going back to 2012, this is the most recent data available. In 2012, 27% of the B2B buying decisions were made by millennials. Just 2 years later, that number jumped to 46%. As we sit here today, that number is probably 50% or higher and growing. Okay? So those of us who are more senior folks, a little seasoned, we have to make sure that we understand who our customer is. Our customer is not the person that looks like us. Our customer is the millennial. They love to influence, okay? It wasn't a 50-year-old that invented the selfie, okay? All right, it was a millennial that invented the selfie, okay? You don't see a whole lot of 50-year-olds unless they're trying to relive their past, taking a picture of the pumpkin ale that they just ordered, right next to the dish from, the hottest restaurant in town. You just don't see that, but in the millennial generation. And that affirmation, that ability to influence decisions among friends and even people that they don't know that are just people that they're maybe remotely connected with. The millennial group really feeds on that. Texting's preferred. I remember the first time I made a call on a customer and they said, can we just text? And I tried to look cool, I said, oh sure, no problem. I do that all the time, And we got in the car with the sales rep and we both went, have you ever had that happen? No, me neither, So it's a sea change on how you communicate, 140 characters or less. Social causes, very, very important to the millennial generation. I have the opportunity to have some great conversations with my sons about some of the social causes and how, we can make society a better place. And they're actively involved in things like that. But that's very important to millennials. Organic, not only, yeah, Joe, I'm sorry.
Do you call on customers that they might ask us, what social causes are we involved in? Is that important for us to do that?
I think it's important for you to know certainly what your company's involved in as your good corporate citizen campaign. What does that look like? And you ought to be able to speak to that. And they may, you may have an opportunity to make that personal. You may say, well, here's what my company does. Here's also what I do, as a side project because it's important to me. I think they want to know that. So if you have the opportunity, absolutely. We talk about organic, it's not just that millennials want to understand, where the cotton was made on the, for the shirt that they're wearing, how far back that whole chain of custody goes, but certainly on the food, no GMO products. They certainly want to have a chain of custody and make sure that wherever that product originated, that the farmer was treated fairly, was given a fair price for, the crops that they grew. And they want to know who the farmer was by name. They don't want to say ABC Farm, in Guatemala. They want to know the owner of ABC Farm in Guatemala. It's that important to them to have that whole chain of custody on the food intimacy. You have to understand the customer's business, no fail. Those are table stakes. And as much as people say, I get that, they think they understand it, but they don't really. Because if you look at the traditional pyramid, where at the top is the CEO and the bottom is everybody, the person who cuts the purchase order, salespeople only go, really don't get off the bottom of the pyramid because they got the purchase order, they're happy, okay? But there's an inverse relationship. The higher you go in the organization, less competition there is and the greater the margins are. Because now you're solving problems now where it's no longer just a product sale, okay? And when you solve business problems, the margins are a lot better. So that's where you want to be.